How's it going, everyone? Marco Moreno here today, Sunday, April 9, 2023. And I'm here to talk about everything regarding yesterday's UFC event. It was amazing, it was spectacular, it was a great night of fights. And just to Well, first of all, happy Easter to everyone. I hope you guys are resting and having fun too. Um, Personally, as I said before, I am recovering from meniscus surgery. This is day 5, and definitely it's something that um, if you don't, I start getting a little reckless, start walking in the crutches, but start hurting then after second day when the anesthesia start wearing off. I start feeling the pain in the knee. So now I'm like being more disciplined and trying to rest more, stay in the bed. Um, my surgery was they actually reattach the medial meniscus. I had a bucket handle tear, and the doctor was able to go in there, flip it back, and put I think 6 stitches and reattach. Therefore, the meniscus surgery, which usually is a minor surgery where you can just uh, be back in a couple of weeks, but this one, because of the stitches, and he had to go in there and do more manipulation on the joint, it takes a longer recovery. So I'm gonna be off the mats for a while, but give me excuse to watch videos, always thinking about jiu-jitsu, watching MMA. And yesterday I couldn't miss the amazing event of UFC 287, Adesanya versus Pereira. Wow, what a comeback. What a great message. What an amazing fighter Adesanya is after losing his title against Pereira. And previously, he lost to Pereira in kickboxing 2 times. So he has lost to Pereira 3 times coming up to this match, to this fight. 2 of them by knockout. One of them by knockout, and the other one was a technical knockout. The one in MMA. And man, the guy, I was having my hesitations. When you get a loss like that, sometimes you come back, your head is not the same. You still have uh, some like PTSD from the fight, but so I knew Adesanya was a better fighter, or he had a good chance, because even in the first match he had a round where, if the round, I think it was second or third round, where if the round lasted a few seconds more, he would have knocked out Pereira. This was on the first fight. So he definitely had the tools and had a big chance to defeat Pereira in the first fight. So coming up on this one, um, you cannot discount Adesanya, but I was I was a little bit hesitant because I thought the psychological aspect. I thought maybe that's where Adesanya was gonna fall when facing this guy who beat him previously uh, in kickboxing 2 times, took his title, and it looked uh, scary. Pereira is a big guy, and he cut weight to fight middleweight, and I really I really had my doubts of Adesanya uh, beating Pereira again. So the first round started. It was uneventful. Nobody really did any significant damage to each other, and that that was it on the first round. And then they went to the second round. Right. By the way, you guys, any comments, questions? You want to say anything about last night fight? If you saw it, let me know in the comments. So they go into the second round, and still very even. They both kicking. Um, Pereira kicking low on Adesanya's leg, and there was a point on the second round where Pereira had Adesanya in a corner, or not in a corner, against the cage, and then he was just teeing off on him, like Adesanya was just defending, like just covering himself, and then Pereira just went like kicks and punches and just went all out, and it looked like that was the point where he was gonna knock him out, and just out of nowhere, Adesanya came with a right hand punch to the face that surprised Pereira, and then follow up with a second one that sent Pereira to the ground, knocked out cold, and added a hammer fist once Pereira was on the ground, and this way he knocked him out um, unconscious and regained the title. Adesanya proof that he has the mind of a champion, to the mental strength to train and ask for a fight, ask for this revenge again against a guy who beat him 3 times, and he pulled it off nicely last night, and he was just a happy guy. Finn, how's it going, brother? My friend Finn Gustafsson, would you like to see Adesanya versus Pereira 3, or would you like the division to move on? I actually would love to see the third match. Okay, don't get me wrong. I would love to see the third match. That would be very interesting. That would be. I think Pereira deserved a third match, but yesterday it looked like Dana White said that he heard that Pereira was going to move on to the light heavyweight, I think. And Adesanya, when he was interviewed, they asked him about it too, and I think he said, "I don't think he's gonna stay in this division." So we'll see what happens. Apparently, there are words that Pereira is not interested, that he wants to move into the heavier division because he cuts weight. He's a big middleweight, and he wants to try that division apparently. So we'll see. But I will actually love to see the third the third MMA match, because they've been fighting in kickboxing before. So um, who's here? Name 10 books. How's it going, brother? Nice to see you. Let's we kind of uh, share the images, the fight, but there's an article here where you can see the end and the celebration of Adesanya. If you guys want to check with me here, um, let me see. This is Bloody Elbow. It says um, Uh, Adesanya started to work his leg kicks right away. Pereira started to unleash his own leg attacks and started to pressure forward. One of Patan's, that's Pereira. Poitin's kicks forced Easy to switch stances. The second round saw Pereira come alive. He put some hands on Easy to start the round and continued to assault the calf. Adesanya then started to let his hands go and was able to connect with some clean 1-2s. Pereira stayed with the calf kick and was visibly hurting Adesanya. Pereira blitzed Easy against the cage, but then Easy countered with an overhand right that staggered Poitin. Another overhand right was on the way, followed by a flush left that sent Alex Pereira crashing to the canvas. A hellacious hammer fist connected on the already unconscious Pereira, and new champion. And here is the last part where the referee comes and separates the fighters. And this is the celebration with the arrows. To Pereira unconscious. And this is it. This was it for... Oh, what is that? Oh, there's a story about that that drop that he did in there. Let's talk about it. So they say there's a meaning on his celebration. The arrows, he threw 3 arrows. First of all, the arrows is because Pereira supposedly is a good archer, and Adesanya threw the 3 arrows because the 3 losses that he had against Pereira. And the fake death that he did right there at the end, there is a nice story about it. Let me see if I can find it, okay? Because it's pretty hilarious. Apparently, on one of the kickboxing matches where Pereira beat Adesanya, Pereira's boy, this is a little boy, got next to Adesanya and just dropped, knocked out, like fake knocked out, just making fun of Adesanya. And Adesanya saw this. Let me see if I can find. There is actually footage of this. So he actually saw Pereira's son. Oh, here is Israel Adesanya mocks Alex Pereira crying son with petty 2015 callback after knocking out his dad. So it's not, I don't know. I mean, it's a celebration, you know. I don't particularly if you ask me my opinion, I don't think family, kids, wife should get involved in this. But look, the son was crying. Oh, here's the video. Let me show you this. So apparently, back in 2015, the son of Pereira mocked Israel Adesanya, and while they were doing the announcements or whatever, the little boy, as you can see in the images right here, he is next to Adesanya and he drops down mocking Adesanya, right? And Adesanya saw this. Look, one more time, the little boy is there and he drops next to Adesanya. And it's funny that Adesanya remembered this last night when he actually took revenge and defeated Pereira and saw the boy, apparently now is of course older, Adesanya turned his aim towards Pereira's son, who was sobbing uncontrollably in the crowd. Oh, that's the son is crying. Pereira's son is crying. So that was directed to the son. Um, anyway, after putting him to sleep, the former proceeded to flip the latter's signature bow and arrow celebration back on him as Pereira lay limp on the mat. And then he looked at the ball right there, and he remembered from 8 years ago. And that was it. What do you guys think about the celebration? I'm not a big fan, really, especially if it's minors. What are this is fighters' business. But anyway, um, name 10 books. I was sad. Jorge retired. Jorge Masvidal retired. You're right. We're gonna talk about it. And then you say he should have shoot only one bow and arrow at Pereira after the match. Only one. Apparently, the three arrows were for the three losses. But yeah, he's back. I mean, the thing you have to recognize on Adesanya was like you had to be, because I actually thought that it was very soon for him to come back and fight Pereira again, because that fight they had was brutal and it wasn't long ago. So he wanted to run that again really quick, and usually you want to like come back slowly, like maybe have a warm up fight, but that mental strength, um, to come back and fight Pereira and take the title back, you had to give it to him. You had to give it to him. Yep. Finn says, reminds me of Usman versus Edwards 2 when the camera immediately pans to Usman's daughter after the knockout. Yeah, I think they should keep kids. I don't like when kids. I particularly, if I were a fighter, I would never take my kid to the fight, if you ask me. But um, anyway, the thing that I want to, I guess, the message that Adesanya gave in the ring interview, I think is a great message. He talk about. Let me see if I can find it. He talked about he hoped that he was super happy, right? And then he hoped that everybody can experience that level of happiness one time on their life. And the only way to attain that happiness is if you fight for something, if you achieve something, you go after something and you get it, and that's how you do it. And if you set your mind strong, and I think that was a good message, and I actually have it here. I'm gonna share it with you guys because I think this is a message that everybody can benefit. Um, because happiness is not usually like just being comfortable all the time, right? Happiness comes after struggle, when you actually earn it and then you achieve, and that's when you experience the satisfaction of a job well done. And I think it's a good message for everybody to know about this struggle. And you know the hope and the motivation, and you can do it. Everybody can do it if you set your mind.
I need to say something. Listen to me.
Let's see, here it is.
You behind your screens or in this arena can feel this level of happiness just one time in your life. I hope all of you can feel how fucking happy I am just one time in your life. But guess what? You will never feel this level of happiness if you don't go for something in your own life. When they knock you down, when they try and shit on you, when they talk shit about you, and they try and put their foot on your neck, if you stay down, you will never ever get that resolve. Fortify your mind and feel this level of happiness as you rise one time in your life. But I'm blessed to be able to feel this shit again and again and again and again and again.
Wow.
I need to say something. Listen to me. I hope everyone.
I think this is good for everybody to hear. Great lesson from Adesanya. If you want something, go for it. Put your mind on it. Work hard. Set your goals and your mind and become unstoppable. And that's how you're going to attain the level of happiness. So the guy was crazy, celebrating, and definitely you have to give it to him. He's one of the best MMA fighters of all time, for sure, 100%. And we'll see what happens next for him. The pursuit to happiness is that makes you happy. 100%. 100%, bro. Cool. And then let's move on. Yesterday, Jorge Masvidal, the BMF, right? He fought that title with Nate Diaz. The BMF beat Nate Diaz and got that title. And he lost to Gilbert Durinho Burns, and retired from MMA. It's crazy to see that Masvidal has been fighting for 20 years. 20 years of fighting. I think it was time for him. He talked in the octagon about how he's not feeling it anymore. How it's time for him to retire. He said he's made good money, and definitely that was the last performance that we are gonna see from Masvidal. Yep, the fight. Durinho dominated the fight, especially the first round was kind of even until and the last round, I would say last 30 seconds of the first round, Durinho took Masvidal down fairly easy, and then that kind of found Durinho found the way to beat him, because came out second round and took Masvidal down also with easy. So that was his way to dominate. Masvidal survived. Third round, kind of more of the same. He did a good job surviving on the ground, Masvidal, but Durinho controlled the fight, dominated, even standing up too. There were a few times where he rocked Masvidal, and he won by unanimous decision, and Masvidal lost, and that was it for him. He announced his retirement. Um, Let me see what he says here. Let's look at this article about Masvidal retirement. This is Bloody Elbow article talking about Masvidal. He said, I don't feel the same way when I get in here no more. It's been 20 long years. I love all of you. UFC came here 20 years ago and it inspired me to chase this dream for 20 years and 50 something fights later. Hopefully, I inspire somebody in here to go fight for theirs, no matter what it is. If it's in the sports world, if it's in the effing entertainment world, if it's in whatever world, the 9 to 5, I love everybody. I love this effing sport. I'm a multimillionaire. I didn't start from shit. I didn't have shit when I started, and I can say I'm good for life now. So that was it. That was Masvidal's last words in the UFC. And I think everybody is gonna. Oh, here's a look back to Masvidal's lengthy career. I remember Masvidal on those videos fighting in the street as a young boy, teenager, where he will fight those street fights, no holds barred, right? Yeah, right here, look. Masvidal began his fighting career as a teenager in Kimbo Slice's infamous backyard brawls. If you guys go to YouTube, you'll see Masvidal as a teenager fighting boxing. He was always a good boxer. He then entered the professional circuit in 2003 and fought in organizations like AFC, Bodog, Sharp Fights, before signing with more recognized promotions like Strikeforce and Bellator. He made his way to the UFC in 2013 as a lightweight competitor, facing and defeating the likes of Michael Chiesa, Pat Healy, and James Krause along the way. Masvidal then moved up to 170 pounds where he found greater success, beating veterans like Ross Pearson, Jake Ellenberg, and recent Hall of Fame Donald Cerrone. 2019 became Masvidal's biggest year, scoring highlight reel wins over Darren Till and Ben Askren, whom he finished with a flying knee inside 5 seconds. He also defeated Nate Diaz to become the UFC first and only BMF champion. Masvidal fought for the title twice in 2020 and 2021, both of which were unsuccessful bids. Prior to the Burns fight at UFC 287, he fought former training partner Colby Covington at UFC 272 in March 2022 and lost via decision. He ended his career with a record of 35 and 17. So I think what everybody's gonna remember Masvidal for is the flying freaking knee to Ben Askren. I think that's gonna be his record for a while. I don't see nobody beating that 5 seconds finish record. And how spectacular that was to knock out somebody like Askren with a flying knee. Spectacular, and that skyrocketed his fame and made him a recognized figure after years of fighting. Finn Gustafsson, that flying knee against Ben Askren changed his life 100%. So that was it for Masvidal. What other fights were there last night? You had the kid. Let's talk about Rosas. So this kid, what was his name? Rosas is his last name. Colby and Jorge too as well. Do you want to see that again? Unless he doesn't actually retire and he said, I was just kidding, guys. But speaking, before we move on from Masvidal, There is accusations here from Burns that Masvidal was greasing. Let's check it out. I just saw this recently, and I wanted to see what it says here. But it says Gilbert Burns believes Jorge Masvidal was greasing for the UFC 287 co-headliner on Saturday. According to Durinho, Masvidal and his team used an old trick to be more slippery during the fight and make wrestling grappling exchanges more challenging. Despite the claim, the 36-year-old Burns ended up winning via decision to compile a 2-fight win streak. Who knows? I mean, I think he took him to the ground pretty easily. I don't know. I didn't see any parts on the fight where he was too slippery, like during your saying. But you want to think that the officials are always checking before the guys go into the octagon. Although there was accusations of greasing recently in grappling. Gordon Ryan accused Nick Rodriguez of greasing, and he was talking about multiple streaks for greasing. For example, uh, you put it on your head, and then when they check your body, everything looks good. But once you start sweating, all the whatever oil starts going into your body, and tricks like that. But I mean, who knows? I would imagine that there are ways for officials to check this. But I was gonna comment on the kid Rosas. I actually have to look for it because uh, this kid came to the UFC. This is a teenager, Raul Rosas, and they were hyping him a lot, like the youngest fighter to sign in the UFC. I think he signed up as a 17-year-old, and then he fought his first fight in the UFC, beat the first guy, and then they match him against this guy Christian Rodriguez. And man, what a fight! What a great fight! Because Rosas, it's a great fighter. That kid, it's just relentless. He started non-stop attacking, going for takedowns on Rodriguez, but Rodriguez just gave him a master class on composure, on controlling, on pacing himself, because it's almost like at one point in the first round, Rosas took his back. Rosas took Rodriguez back, and Rodriguez was just defending two times where it looked like he had the rear naked choke, and you can see Rodriguez really working the hands, and he finally defended, and they went to the second round. And as the round progressed, then Rosa started fading and getting a little more sloppy on his takedowns, and Rodriguez just took his back the second round and just controlled him. And it was just amazing grappling by Rodriguez. At one point mounted on him, and Rosas rolled to his back. Great control on the second round. He couldn't finish him. Props to Rosas that he didn't get finished. But I was really, really impressed by Rodriguez' way to handle this kid and how he won this fight. because you can get overwhelmed. You can get overwhelmed by the reputation. This kid's supposed to be like a prodigy, and everybody's hyping him, and but he just handled this kid like as a more experienced fighter. You could see how experience sometimes is so important, and the kid Raul Rosas is great, but he still needs to, in order to get to the top to get the title, he's gonna have to get more experience, and yesterday was a great lesson for him. I have no doubt that he's gonna learn from this and come back stronger. But what a fight! I was really uh, amazed by the way uh, Rodriguez handled the fight against Rosas, and we can actually see maybe some comments here from Rodriguez. There we go. It says Christian Rodriguez might be the prospect to watch now that he handed 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. the first loss of his career. Oh, he's now 18. When he signed with the UFC, he was 17. To kick off the UFC 287 main card on Saturday. After fighting off a number of submission attempts early, Rodriguez outworked Rosas for the final 10 minutes of the fight as he punished the Contender Series veteran in just about every position in the octagon. It was a strong showing from Rodriguez, while Rosas showed that he still has a lot of room to grow before he's a contender in the UFC's bantamweight division. All the judges scored the fight 29-28, with Rodriguez getting the unanimous decision victory. He is really, really good, Rodriguez said about Rosas. I respect his skill set. I want to apologize for being a pound overweight, but that kid brings it. I've been training with the best team. I just stopped a good hype train, so I hope you guys can follow my journey. Definitely the Rodriguez is a fighter to watch, and Rosas train got derailed last night. Hopefully that kid come back. I didn't like Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum being on the undercard, but Roy Jr. on main card. Yes, I agree with you that Curtis Gastelum, that was an amazing fight. Oh my goodness, those two guys went at each other. I think it should have been picked as the best fight of the night. Gastelum looked incredible. Curtis is just so tough. At one point, they actually bumped heads. I think there was an accidental headbutt from Gastelum, and Curtis got rocked, and Gastelum was just all over him, and he survived. And then by the end of the third round, they both were punching at each other like back and forth. Kurt is so strong, man. He's such a durable. And Gastelum was throwing good combinations, and it was a great back and forth from those two, Curtis and Kelvin Gastelum. Great fight, and it could have gone either way. Actually, they gave it to Gastelum, but I wouldn't have gotten mad if they would have gotten to if they would have picked Curtis, because I think he had his moments too. But yeah, it's great fight, to see them there. By the way, Donald Trump was in the spectators yesterday, and of course Masvidal, being a Trump supporter, was was all over Trump, saying how he was the greatest president. And not to get political here, I just wanted to mention how I think Donald Trump and Dana White, they go way back when Dana White started with the UFC and SUFA, and I think Donald Trump helped him with some business, setting up a show in the Trump in New Jersey. I think it was called the Trump Mahal or something like that. So they are great partners. They're great friends still. So, and Trump is in Miami, in Florida. He's there and he's trying to make a comeback. And it's probably a little help to get some exposure to the public, and maybe start running his campaign coming up soon. When are the elections? In a couple of years still, but they already start warming up to pick the Republican candidate. So Trump was there, and everybody started chanting, "Let's go, Brandon." Anyway, what else? What else last night? Another great fight. Yesterday was what else? Oh, Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland had a good fight. He knocked out the Argentinian Ponzinibbio. Let me check. Kind of difficult name here, but Kevin Holland had a great show yesterday. Let me check. Knockout Ponzinibbio. Let me get the last name straight here. Nope. It was funny because Kevin Holland just loves talking, and Ponzinibbio, and at one point he's like, "This guy smell." Why are you smelling? And crazy because Joe Rogan and Cormier, they were like, "Yeah, it smells over here." That guy body odor must be so strong that even the commentators were smelling it. But anyway, round 3, they meet in the middle. Holland landing those jabs. It was crazy. I never seen this before, where Ponzinibbio grabbed Kevin Holland's leg, and Kevin Holland punched him, like from just being on one leg. He back fist him and almost knocked him out with that one punch, which usually is the opposite, where the guy who has the leg punch the other guy. But this was the opposite, where Kevin I cannot get his name. Ponzinibbio grabbed Kevin Holland's leg, and Kevin Holland almost knocked him out. So I think that's something that I never seen before. But let's look at here the play-by-play of that fight yesterday. We're talking Kevin Holland versus Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio jabbing, more leg kicks. Ponzinibbio lands a big hook, another low kick. Front snap kick, just misses Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio low kick, and he ducks a big hook. Holland catches a kick. Oh yeah, that's how it started. Holland catch the kick from Ponzinibbio and lands two quick punches that end the fight as Ponzinibbio falls face first. Left hook did it. And then he was complaining of an early stoppage, but he went face first. So I think it was a good stoppage. I don't think there were bad stoppage yesterday. There was another fight where the fighter was also complaining about early stoppage. But let me see here.
Hey, George, if you don't retire after Gilbert Burns gets done whooping your ass tonight, I would definitely love a chance for that BMF belt. I love Miami, and if I want a BMF belt here, I'd fight here 4 times a year, granted the boss let me. Shout out to George Masvidal. I love everything you're doing. You got a hell of a promotion and all that good stuff, but there's no badder motherfucker than me. See you soon, boy.
He's calling out Jorge Masvidal for the BMF. Yeah, this is the knockout, the picture of the knockout. And Ponzinibbio goes face first. Later, he was complaining that early stoppage, but I think it was a good stoppage. You guys still have open mat on Fridays. Yes, we do have open mat on Fridays around 7. Come check it out. I won't be there. I'm still recovering from this surgery. And then what else? Is there other fights that happened yesterday? I think I'm missing one. Let me comment on this. Oh yes, it was Font versus let me see the name, the other kid, Adrian Yanez. And then, yes, Rob Font knockout Yanez. It says here, yeah, it was a great knockout. Let's check it out. Let's check it out here together. We're talking about the fight between Yanez and Rob Font. Rob Font made the most of an important moment Saturday. This is MMA Junkie. When he returned to the win column with a first round knockout of Adrian Yanez at UFC 287 in Miami. The fight, which many predicted would be fight of the night at Kesea Center, potentially lived up to the hype for as long as it lasted. Yanez landed damaging shots prior to Font's final flurry. After a couple of exchanges, Font's face was noticeably swollen, but he continued to push forward. A counter right hand floored Yanez to the canvas. Font punched with hammer fist and finished the fight until referee Keith Peterson dove in and saved Yanez. Rob Font gets it done. He was so accurate with his jab. Like, at one point, he didn't miss any of his punches.
It was a hybrid shot. That was nasty.
Rob Font looked spectacular. With the victory, Font snaps a 2-fight skid, which consisted of unanimous decision losses to Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo. Following the Vera loss, the most recent of the two, Font elected to take a year off from competition at the advice of New England cartel coach Tyson Chartier due to damage sustained. Wow. He takes a year off, comes back with a win. Good for him. Great so accurate with his jabs, font, and really connected at one point, connected 2, 3 punches, and sent Giannis down, knock him out. And that Giannis was also complaining of an early stoppage, but I don't think it was an early stoppage. It was totally legit. He was being on the ground, and Font was ground and pounding him. He was really defending himself very well, and they stopped the match. Uh, hey, name 10 books. What's your name, bro? I don't recognize your picture very well. But thank you. Eat well and sleep good. I had a meniscus surgery. I didn't have like um, a big accident, right? It's just it was. I think it was meant to happen because I always had like weak knees, and I was just doing a regular butterfly sweep, and my knee kind of buckled, and then went to the doctors, took an MRI. Turned out I had a bucket handle meniscus there. So, but it was an accident, uneventful, you know. And that's it, you guys. Speaking of accident, this last week we were talking about the the accident that happened on the mats that left a jiu-jitsu student paralyzed. I had a whole video talking about it. Um, and the Henner Gracie controversy. I'm not gonna talk about it today anymore. I think um, I always think you have to be balanced on your views and see the whole picture, and don't just pick a side of a team and don't look at the other side of the story. I think um, Henner Gracie is it was um, his first post was kind of uh, very, I would say, not clear, not accurate. But then later on, I think he was right on some of the things he said regarding the technique. The technique was a dangerous technique, and even though it wasn't done with malicious intent, I think it was fair for the student to receive a compensation, and he went through hell. He almost died. You can see there are reports of the injuries that he sustained and the recovery, and he barely made it. He barely made it, and it's just a miracle that he's walking again, even though still recovering. And he'll never be the same for sure. But watch the video if you guys want to see my take on that incident. And just to close, this week on the news, I was so sad to see that Mika Galbao, a young, great jiu-jitsu submission fighter, um, was caught cheating and stripped of his title. Let's look at the article here. So sad, man. But this sport is not. They need to do better job. Steroids go rampant, and they feel like they can get away. The athletes, and once USADA starts getting involved, he starts catching all these guys using these illegal substances. So what happened to Galbao? It says, and it's sad because um, he was the youngest jiu-jitsu world champion in the black belt division, and now he's no longer. USADA announced today, this was a few days ago, that Mika Galbao has been stripped of his titles of his title and accepted a 1-year suspension for a violation of anti-doping rules. Galbao tested positive for clomiphene, a prohibited substance, during a test after his victory at Worlds. After subsequent investigation, USADA ruled that the violation was caused by a prescribed medication for which Galbao did not appropriately request excuse. Galbao, who became the youngest ever IBJJF World Champion in 2022, has been stripped of that title, which is expected to go to the lightweight silver medalist Tai Rutolo. If Rutolo is awarded the lightweight gold following IBJJF precedent, he would become the youngest IBJJF World Champion in history. Galbao's 1-year suspension began on July 2022. He will be eligible to return to IBJJF competition in late July this year after the 2023 IBJJF World Championship. So he's going to miss. I mean, that's not that bad. 1-year suspension started last July. He can return this July, but he's gonna miss the IBJJF Wars this year. And good for Rutolo, right? That now he will become the champion. Man, Galbao doesn't have a good record with the Rutolo. And then because that after that competition they fought in Abu Dhabi, and I think it was Kate who got him in a heel hook and beat him for the gold medal. So Rutolo's 2, Galbao 0 so far. Anyway, we hope he comes back. He's a young kid. He's a very great athlete, and man, let's I hope they have a good advisors behind him that can guide him his career, because eventually everything has a consequence and you pay off. Who knows those substances, what will be the side effects on your body in the long term. So hopefully these young athletes take care of themselves and train and achieve the right way. Oh, Dave Schneid, how's it going, brother? How's it going? Nice to see you, bro. Hopefully, we'll see you again on the mats. Cool, guys. That's it for me today. We did a little review on yesterday's UFC event, and great. Don't forget to train safe when you practice Jiu-Jitsu with your partners. It's not about beating them. Yes, the goal is to beat them, but do that the Jiu-Jitsu way. The Jiu-Jitsu way is finding a technique, putting traps, being smarter, outsmart your opponent, right? You don't need to do dangerous positions or use too much of reckless movements that will put him in danger. And a great way to learn. Training is learning too. Training is not competition. When you spar, you can use the partners to take your back, especially if they are lower belt than you or lower lighter weight than you. Use your partner to take your back, to pass side mount, to practice your escapes, right? And to get better and to do it in a safe way, you guys. Jiu-Jitsu is amazing. If everybody takes care of each other, there will not be accidents. Everybody be enjoying it, having fun, and be happy. And don't forget what I think the great lesson yesterday from Adesanya is: if you want to experience a level of happiness, go for something, fight for something, set your goals on something, and your mind and your time And when you achieve it, you're gonna find a very rewarding feeling. See you guys soon. Take care and be safe. I'll catch you on the next one.